When I got to the point where not being in my 9-to-5 job was, costing me more money, I was losing money not doing the artwork, that's when I kind of knew that it was time to make the jump.
You never want more than 50% of your business to come from one client.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever found in someone else's house?
This is what I have to put up with on a daily basis trying to work with these guys. So this is the start of the series. Obviously, we've got our first episode with a guest coming out in 2022, but we thought it'd be a really good idea for the first few episodes just to be letting you guys get to know us.
So we're going to begin by interviewing Karl, an overall sort of conversation about who Karl is, where he came from, the man behind the pen.
Yeah, the guy who, if you're watching right now, you can see who is an absolute. Hello everybody.
Yeah.
First and foremost, Karl, if you don't mind, just give us a bit of insight into who you are, what's brought you to where you are right now.
Yeah, sure. So I am 1/3 of Untitled. Sorry, I'm 1/3 of iPad Artwork.
iPad Artwork.
Untitled Artwork.
That's a callback. If you don't know what he's referencing, go and watch the bloopers video, and you'll get it.
Exactly. No, I'm Karl Thyer. I've been an illustrator since sort of the mid to back end of 2016, like properly really sort of getting into it. And yeah, pretty much that is who I am and what I do.
Tell us more about the in the know stuff. Did you know someone that was at a club or worked for the Prem or something like that? Because for those who haven't seen that video, Karl's Twitter started as an in the know sort of thing. I'll let you sort of elaborate on that, Karl.
Yeah, basically I just had a magic 8-ball and I used to ask it questions and then I put out the answers. No, I did. I used to know a couple of people and they just used to give me snippets of information early and I used to tweet them. And at the time, before I didn't tweet it, I kind of just seeing if it comes true, to be honest with you, and then I just started tweeting and things started to come true and the followers count used to go up. And yeah, it just kind of, that's how it initially grew, was just from being in the know. Maybe a year before I did the artwork, before I started getting back into artwork, I had a big account at the time and I was kind of thinking, rather than just sort of cut it off, I was wondering what way can I, in essence, give back to people and give back and kind of just promote myself and grow myself. So in actual fact, it was probably Twitter that prompted me to do it, because I would scroll through feeds and I would follow people, and then I kind of look through my following account who I was following. I realised I was following a lot of people who did graphics or illustrations, and I realised that's the sort of thing I really like. It kind of brought me back to my childhood as such, what I really like to do. And then I just started to practice, basically practice, and to cut a long story short, I kind of helped me get to where I am today, to be honest with you. But I will say that having a big following prior to it has elevated me probably a lot quicker than other people. Just to rewind a little bit, I did do art at school and college, and but when I left, at the time I needed a job, I needed money, as like most youngsters. It was, I didn't further my education on art, and I just kind of just got stuck in jobs where at the time I think money was more important. But I had studied art at college and school, and it was, like I said, it wasn't until 2016 I sort of just decided, look, I'm going to try.
When you said you loved artwork when you were younger, were you always good at it? Did you used to draw when you were a kid?
Yeah, I did. I wouldn't say I was the best drawer at school. There were people better than me, but I'll never forget this one project. I can't remember. It was in secondary school, and we got these massive square canvases, huge ones, that we had to create a piece of art on. And all these, a lot of the other kids who were kind of really, what you would class at the time as artists, as opposed to now, we're all obviously artists and illustrators. But back when I was young, you had to be doing a specific style of art to be really classed as an artist as such. And they would create these great colours and these unique sort of pieces, and I drew this massive Patrick Berger piece of him striking. I listen, it was phenomenal, and I wish I knew where it was or where it went to, and I can't remember if after school, but if my mum got it for me or they took it down. But I know that they put it in the school hall, and it was there for a good few years, like hand drawn as well, which was I was pretty impressed with.
That's all we had back then.
No, yeah. What else would it have been?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's fair enough. Fair point. You forget
Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, possibly. Listen, I've done stuff in Microsoft Paint.
I was thinking that the other day. Like, didn't even have the internet, did we?
Yeah, we did.
Definitely not back in Carl's day, man.
Yeah, so that was one of my first pieces I remember at school, like, and obviously it was the link to football, because I've always been into football since I was a kid. Like, it's just always been there. And yeah, that was one of the first pieces I did, and I remember really enjoying it. And I think that I would say that is the start of my journey, although it took me a little while to kind of get back into it.
So you said that you didn't do like any further education or anything. Was there any part of you at the time that like you thought maybe I could go to art college or study design at college and university or anything like that, or was that not even really an option?
Well, no. When I said I did do further education, I studied art and design at college, but I only did it at in my first year, and then in my second year I decided to do IT instead.
Same.
I just felt at the time that maybe it was a easier career for me to get into, an easier path, because IT was everything. I felt that was just the path I should go down, but I wouldn't say necessarily it was the one I was passionate about. I was passionate about art. I don't know. I just felt at the time maybe there wasn't. I don't know if there was a path, or I couldn't see a path for me to, go down. Because I guess, like we were saying, it's all sort of drawn on paper and or paint or whatever. There wasn't really a digital world then as there is today, which makes it a lot easier to succeed. So I don't know. Yeah, for me it was just more of a case of I don't think at the time I felt there was a path for me to go down, to be honest with you.
I think it's really interesting because I was actually having this thought the other day, like back in the day, like probably pre like 2010s or at least the 2000s. The only work that there was for like artists and designers that wasn't being an artist, like a high artist where you just create art to sell it, was like billboards, packaging design, magazine covers. I think one thing that a lot of people thankfully like won't have to deal with themselves is like, if you're a really talented 17, 18, 19-year-old designer coming out now, every brand needs constant content for their social media channels. I work with some sports brands where I produce stuff for their social media, and that you're talking about dozens of posts a week. So that is employment for loads of designers and artists, and it's something that at the time, whether it was me, you, or Callie coming out of school or college, those opportunities weren't there. So I think it's amazing for people now to be able to see that and try and take advantage of it.
It's hard when you're a freelancer or even an illustrator or sort of any sort of creative to know where you want to be. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that you kind of, maybe that's the wrong way to say it. You know what you want to do as an illustrator. You want to get better and you want to create art and you want to, the world to see it as such and have a living from it. But I think that you kind of have to do it in blocks. Like, you kind of have to... And you have to be open to anything. So you kind of have to right, so in the next 6 months, I kind of want to try and achieve this, whether it's sell more in my store or, have more client work. And then you kind of, once that time period has elapsed, you need to kind of be open to doing more things. So for example, like we knew, for example, if it wasn't for you, Dan, we wouldn't be here doing this because you initially... No, but if we're talking in reality, if it wasn't for your NFT push with us two, and you dipping into your toe into the game, and seeing that there was a new market and a new world out there for illustrators, and obviously put us together, we wouldn't have evolved to where we are now. Do you know what I mean? And I think that you kind of have to take it step by step and do stage by stage. So first it was the NFTs, and and then we got together as a group, and now it's we've got our YouTube channel, and we don't know what the future holds, but I think you kind of just have to, instead of having a headset plan that you want to do X, Y, and Z, you kind of just have to be a little bit open to mold into something else, because you don't know where it will take you. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
100%.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, man. I think there's a couple of things I wanted to say off the back of that, but I'll pick up on this one thing specifically. I remember, when the three of us started chatting, we didn't really have a set aim in mind. We weren't really talking about doing anything specifically together, but Callie kept saying this phrase, which is, diversifying your income streams.
Yeah.
And it's something that I constantly think of now, and I think it's such a valuable thing to try and think of. It relates to so many little nuanced parts of what we all do. It's like when somebody says to me, and this is just a small example of it, should I use Etsy or should I build my own website? And I'm just like, mate, why choose? And the thing I always say to somebody is like, my website will be where I drive traffic to, but somebody random who wants to buy like that print that's behind me, who doesn't know who I am, but what has this idea in their head that they want this specific poster, could find it on Etsy. And like that, and but you can extrapolate that out to so many things. It's like this might be your style of illustration, or this might be your style of design or artwork, but be open to accepting new challenges. I think there's a really good quote that I think it's from Richard Branson, where he just said, like, if somebody offers you an opportunity and you don't know how to do it, say yes and learn afterwards.
Yeah.
And like, as long as you have that confidence, go for it.
My old boss, the best boss I've ever had, he gave me the best advice that I've ever had in terms of business, and he always used to say it in meetings, and he'd say, if someone would say, like, what are we doing this, are we going to go down this avenue, are we going to do this project, are we going to try this, are we going to try that, and he'd say, I want to expand in all ways, and it's just something that's always stuck with me, and that's what you've related to hearing that from me. It's because it is, why not, why can't we do an NFT? Why can't we do
I totally agree with you. I think because if you put all your eggs in one basket, at some point it could all go wrong. Do you know what I mean? And I think you need to definitely sort of have a portfolio, but a wide variety of portfolio. And that's why, we said this on some of our Instagram lives. That's why I always try to do different styles, because, it opens more doors for me to different clients who want, whatever they want. They know what, generally a client will know what they want or what style they like. And if you have, like we always said, Dave Flanagan, he's probably the king of different styles. If you're like that, then you just open as many doors as possible to be getting more work. And same with what we're doing now. It doesn't necessarily have to be just in style of art, but we're opening the doors to doing NFTs. All of us are running stores. We're doing a YouTube channel. You just have to kind of keep being proactive, and you need to keep changing and modifying yourself and help learning, because that's the only way you'll get to the goals or to the dreams that you are chasing. You'll achieve them. Do you know what I mean?
You're spot on, mate. And I think there's another way of thinking about this, and it's a very crucial rule of business in general. I can't remember what the exact figures are, but it's something along the lines of that if you're a company and you have your clients, you never want more than 50% of your business to come from one client. Because if something's to happen to that relationship, you're totally fucked. Yeah. So if you think of yourself as a business, if you think of each of us individually now as artists, but as a business, you've got your store, you might have NFTs, you might have a YouTube channel, you might have commissions, you might have a part-time job, and then you've got your client stuff. So you want to have all of those, because at any one point, one of those legs could break. Yeah. And you need the chair to stay standing. So I think that's always the way to think about it. You've got to continue once you kind of become an adult. And sorry for sounding condescending to all of the Gen Zers listening right now. But once you've got serious responsibilities, which is a point in life we all hit at some point, whether it's keeping a roof over your head, keeping the bills paid, raising the kids, or whatever. you need to understand that when you go to bed at night, shit's taken care of. And ultimately, like that's the kind of the first concern that everybody's got to have.
One of the things I wanted to ask you, because we've talked about going in different directions and always being open to opportunities. In terms of success, what has been your idea of success from the start and now? Like, what do you deem as successful?
Pretty much what Yoni just said there. It's about putting a roof over my head and my family said, because obviously I've got a young family, I've got kids and stuff, and it's just I think everybody wants to be rich or wants a certain amount of money, because we're all in it. Let's be honest, as much as we love what we do, we all want to earn money so that you can live life a particular way, or you can live life comfortably, and for me that's the most important thing for me, is that success to me is that I can live my life and my kids can live their lives and comfortably, not having to want, not have to worry. When I was a kid, I grew up on a council estate, and I know what it's like to struggle and not having the stuff that you wanted. My dad died when I was 7 years old, so it's always been my mum, and she's always had to, struggle through life. Well, not always, should I say. At the beginning, she had to struggle for life, and my mum is my idol because she worked so hard with 2 kids, and to get where she is today, she's got a house. She's sort of semi-retired now, but she's got a house, and she's, comfortable, and she's living, she's enjoying her life and stuff. But when we were kids, it wasn't like that. It wasn't always like that. I'll never forget like being a kid, and my mum had this old car called Triumph Acclaim, and I'll never forget that when I was little. And if she's watching this, she'll kill me. But we used to live in a tower block, right? And and the car was obviously downstairs in the car park. And when it was cold, like it never used to start, right? And we used to have this like ramp where you used to have to push the car down. So I'd have to get out and I'd have to push the car down, and then she'd have to bump start it. And I'll never forget this one time. Right, I can't remember how old I was. I must have been 7, 8, 9 maybe. And we pushed it down this ramp and it never started. And there's this 8-year-old mum trying to push with my sister, who was a baby in the car, trying to push it back up to the top. And I know I'm going off on a bit of a tangent, but my point is that, for me, it's so that my kids don't have to have those types of things, And it's not, don't get me wrong, it's a story, and I love looking back at a story, and it reminds me of where I've got to today, and the things that, like I said, my mum's achieved, and I look at her as definitely as an idol and an inspiration to me. But yeah, I want my kids to be able to understand that you don't get anything for free. You've got to work hard for it. You've got to earn it. But at the same time, I want them to be able to be comfortable, so they don't ever want for anything. And to me, that is my success. Is that what I've achieved? I've put a roof over my kids' heads and my missus and my family, and I've looked after them, and we're okay. Do you know what I mean? We can go through day to day. We can go on holiday every year. We've got a car that runs. We never worry about petrol. There's food on the table. All those types of things. And that, to me, is what success is.
Good answer.
I think we should just let everybody in the audience take a moment to collect themselves. deal with the emotions that have just been shared. We've spoken about your initial kind of burgeoning artistic talents when you were younger, but something that I wanted to know about, because I think it's a very pertinent question just in creative industries at the moment. It's like, do you think that either personally or in general, it's more difficult for somebody coming from like a minority background to have a successful career within a creative industry? Is that something that you have faced, or is that something that you think exists? And if so, how can we kind of tackle that kind of thing, or are there changes you'd like to see?
It's harder, without doubt. To be honest with you, you only have to look what's been going on in the football for the last couple of years to see how difficult it is for people who are in the limelight to get the respect and the credit that they deserve. So I do think it's harder. I do think there have been things that have changed, but just not enough. and whether it be, you know, like ethnic minorities, even women to a certain extent, and I still see some more stuff online where, you know, they get more opportunity, but it's just not enough. And I do believe that, you know, you don't always get the rub of the green, shall we say, or, you know, you do get looked down upon from where you're from. You know, I mean, there's no question of doubt in my mind that that happens for sure. How do we tackle it? I think for me it has to be it all these types of things are down to education. And my belief is that the way we in society are better to create these opportunities for more people is that we need to educate from school and the ground up, you know, like just simple stuff like, you know, for example, so we have, obviously, you know, we know about Black History Month. You know, it's a month in October, and you know where it's promoted, and it's once every year. But for me, that shouldn't be once a month. It should be part of the curriculum. Do you know what I mean? Because we're such a diverse nation now, and there's, you know, so many different people. When we do history, it shouldn't be. I mean, I can't say I know for sure, but the stuff I was taught at school, Henry VIII. And all these types of things which are historical, and, you know, they do need to be taught. But I think that we need to teach other stuff as well, which is more diverse, so that people don't just see one side of the coin, if you understand what I'm saying. And, oh, you've only got a month to do, you know, Black History Month, or a month to do a different sort of ethnic background. So I think that is the way we teach, and the future, the children of the future, and then once we teach the children of the future these, you know, the history of stuff, and the way you've got everyone is equal and all these types of things, then in, you know, when they get older in 20 years time or whatever, they will look at life differently to the way people look at life now. Do you understand where I'm coming from? And that's one thing I've always said. I think you definitely need to teach the kids, and I think that's the way things will change. So I don't think things will change now, if that makes sense. You know, I think we need to plan for the future. That's the way you do it. You can't change a generation overnight. It just it's not going to happen. And I think you need to do it. Yeah, you need to plan for the future with the kids, and you need to install it. But that's, you know, that's down to the government and people, you know, investing the right funding and doing the right things at the right levels. That's my belief. I would liken it a little bit to football. So in the sense that if you want, you know, if you look at the German team, and I can't remember who else, but a lot of these teams, when they wanted to win a World Cup, they made sure that the kids, you know, they invested in the grassroots. So these players were better, and then when they came to being in their pinnacle, they could go on to win the World Cup. And what I'm trying to say is, I like it the same. Is if we invest in kids today and give them the right education, then as they get older, they will treat people the way we want them to be treated. Do you know what I mean? And for me, I think that's how we do it.
You know, we all know plenty of female creators, whether it's on Twitter or Instagram or wherever, and the first thing that ever pops up in their comments when it comes to them posting artwork is derogatory, sexist, objectification, and like so in some ways I am actually surprised, but I think it's in part like because a lot of people don't actually understand that the wild shit they say to these young women on social media is actually sexist, abusive, objectification. You know, people have a really clear understanding of what racism is and whether they do or do not want to be racist. But I think a lot of people need to educate themselves about how to respect women online as well, because the stuff that you see just scrolling through a thread when somebody posts a new illustration or whatever is terrible.
Yeah, it's the whole social media thing. Whereas it could be positive, how we've got together, and, you know, like we've already said about creating a YouTube channel and all the things we've done together. There is such a negative side to it as well, and you just have to be really careful with what you do and how you conduct yourself online, I think, you know. Yeah,
I want to do a shout out there, because some of the comments that we had on our first video, to start a YouTube video and put our first one out, I think over 400 people commented on it, which is a lot of people, and every single one of them was just like glowing references. So I know that made me feel good when I went there, and it's not often you go online and you see that positivity. So just a shout out to anyone who did watch the video, and if you didn't, watch this one and like this one and comment below.
yeah, I agree.
I think it's great to talk about like the positive sides of social media, and we definitely should do that, but I just want to pick up on a part of what you said that I think might be useful for a lot of people that are going to tune into our content. And you were talking about how you had a stable job, and you made that decision to go full-time into your illustration. I just want you to kind of talk us through that journey a little bit. When did you get to the point where you felt like you could finally make that jump? Was the transitionary stages, and kind of, I guess, how it's felt since as well?
Yeah, sure. So I was working, so like I said, when I left college, I was 19 and I went and got a job for the local government working for the council, and it was meant to be a 3-month job. 19 years later, I was still there. Obviously, I'd gone through different stages, different promotions, and to different levels. And it just kind of became a bit of a mundane job for me. Like, you earn money and you put a roof over your head, but like, there was no job satisfaction for me. And I love the people I work there with. Like, I still talk to a load of them today. They're like my family. Sometimes when you go to a workplace, you see people at work more than you see your own family. Do you know what I mean? So you grow a bond, and it was really hard. It was really hard for me to want to do something else, because I felt such a family connection to the people I worked with. Because I'd been there for 20 years, and a lot of them had been there for 30 years. They'd basically watched me grow up from a teenager, a young adult to a man, have kids, a lot. So. But for me, it was just like, it just wasn't job satisfaction. And when I started doing, like I said, when I started doing the artwork properly in sort of 2016, it was kind of just because I was enjoying it. It was a bit of pocket change as well to open up a store and these types of things. And as I started to grow as an illustrator and I got better, and the responses I got were more and more, the more and more I wanted to do it, and the more and more it was kind of like, I don't want to go to work. I want to be creating artwork. I want to be drawing. I want to, just get that buzz because it's so nice. So, and then basically, so like I said, I've been there for 19 years, and it got to a point where my artwork and the stuff I was producing had got so good in terms of the responses, and the store had started to sell quite a lot, and things were looking up. And it basically got to a point where I decided, one summer I'm going to go part-time just to see how it goes. Just do it for a year. And I think after a year, if it didn't quite work out, I was allowed to go back full-time. So they were really good like that I had the flexibility of being able to, just do it for a year and see how it goes. And if not, then I could go back full-time or whatever. And after the year, it got to a point where it was me not doing illustration full-time was costing me more money than my job. So I was, the time I was going to my work, I was basically losing money because I couldn't create, I couldn't put stuff up for sale. And that for me was the point I knew. That was the point I knew that, like, you need to make the jump now, because if you don't make the jump now, you will never do it. And you will either be part-time forever, or you'll go back to being full-time, because, again, like, there's certain things have a shelf life, and this may never last forever. But I just felt it was a year after. It was about a year after, just shy of a year after. I just felt like I need to make the jump, because if I don't do it now, like I said, I'll never will. And to be honest with you, it was the best decision in terms of a job or work related decision I've ever made in my life, to be honest with you. And it's been scary, and it's been tough, and there's been some real highs and there's been some lows, but I don't regret any of it. But at the same time, what I want to say is, you do need to take risks in life, but they need to be calculated. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't, like, I wouldn't tell anyone to just, tomorrow, quit your job and become an illustrator. It took me a good few years to build up a following, to build up a community, to build up sales. And like I said, when I got to the point where not being in my 9-to-5 job was, costing me more money, I was losing money not doing the artwork, that's when I kind of knew that it was time to make the jump.
I would love to know, what is it like knowing that you're going to drop, was it 500 or 750 mugs on a Saturday at 10 a.m. and they sell out in like a minute? What is that experience like, selling something as fast as like Adele sells concert tickets?
It really was that
mad.
quick.
It was. One batch I sold out in 10 seconds.
Oh my god!
What?
A batch of what?
500. I had to do them in batches of 500. Right. I had to do them in batches of 500 because.
Jesus.
And I know people were saying to me, "Oh, you should sell more." But I was like, "Look, yeah, if you want your mug in about 6 months, cool, no problem. I'll sell I'll sell loads." But I had to make sure that, because obviously when you're working with customers, you need to make sure they've bought a product off you and they're buying stuff. They're paramount. That you providing a service to them is paramount over everything. And I think that you need to make sure that you don't bite off more than you can chew. And that's why I was doing them in batches of 500. And it's really funny because I used to say to my missus, like, I used to say, come watch this. So I used to watch the Etsy, the Etsy, right? And I used to refresh it, and you could see the number of the orders just going bam, bam, bam.
Oh,
it
God.
was like mad. And it sold out, and I had to get her to take time off work. I had to get my mum round to help me to put them into, because I do all my postage and packaging myself. Like there's no outsourcing, there's no drop shipping, none of that stuff. I do. Yeah, and I can't even. Do you know what the worst part of all of it was? The worst part of all of it is the DHL man. I live on the second floor, right? We live in a 2-story flat, and I live on the second floor. And when he used to drop their mugs off, he never used to bring them upstairs. And do you know how heavy those to carry 500 mugs, and how many different boxes I used to have to bring upstairs into the flat, and then I had to take them back down to take them to the post office. I think that was the worst part of it. But just to see, I can't explain it. It's surreal. It really is surreal. And I was genuinely humble, so humble. I just couldn't believe that something I'd produced had just exploded like that. It was crazy.
So another question that I like to ask people. I say that I've never asked this question to anybody in my life, but I was thinking about it earlier, and I think it's a really good way to judge somebody's character. Because I think if the answer's no, you're a liar, and then I know you're a liar. Do you pee in the shower?
Yes, of course I do. Who doesn't?
No, exactly. Right? Women audience members, I understand the mechanics are probably a little bit different, and it's probably not the same experience. But I think if a guy says to you he does not pee in the shower, he is a liar, and you should get away from that person.
I think
without doubt,
if a woman does as well.
Yeah, they all.
Probably.
Everybody does. Without a doubt, there's no way you're getting out of the shower to go to wet the floor and then go for the pee in the toilet, or you're holding it. Look, it just goes down the plug. Yeah, wash it down. Yeah, it's nothing wrong.
Deal with the smell for 2 seconds, and then exactly. You're good to go. Just. I've also got a question that's random that I wanted to ask Karl in the same light.
Oh, here we go.
Great.
It's just a funny question. So, what's the weirdest thing you've ever found in someone else's house?
I don't know. I can't
be honest.
You've
completely honest.
Obviously got an answer for that, right?
I know, yeah, he's got a story. Callie's got a story. When somebody asks you a question like that, they don't want to know the answer. They want to tell you their story.
Tell me you've never found something weird in someone else's house. People will be watching this, they're going, I found the maddest shit.
Yeah, guys, if you're watching this, comment below, let us know what the weirdest thing you found is.
What about when you were a kid or anything like that? Can you remember back?
No, I can't, like, not at the top of my head can I think of something that, well, I went around, like, I try and avoid going anywhere in people's house, just sit on the sofa like that, don't look at anything, don't touch anything, I always think I'm going to ruin it. No, I can't, like, off the top of my head think, but I'll tell you what we will do, you can tell us what you found at somebody's house, because that's all we're waiting for, we want to know this story, so you might as well spit it out, Kelly.
That's the end. But I just thought that was a good question. If someone's watching and you found anything specific, don't name who they were, but if you can put in the comments below, I want to see what the weirdest thing you've ever found in someone's house is, because there's bound to be some crackers.
We're going to have more episodes coming up where me and Callie do the same thing and we'll be interviewed by each other. But wrapping up this episode is going to be something that we're going to do with every guest we have, which we've got some quick fire questions to find out what their choices are on the subjects that we all debate around the water cooler every day. Carl, are you ready?
Yeah.
No, put them away. Right, are you ready?
I am.
Okay, so no thought time on these answers. I just want it immediately, straight back at me after I finish the question, okay?
Okay.
Okay, your time starts now. Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
Mac or PC?
Mac.
Photoshop or Illustrator?
Photoshop.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Scone or scone?
Scone.
Yes.
Simpsons or Family Guy?
Family Guy.
Yes.
Oh, what? Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Is the book better or the movie?
The movie.
Beer or wine?
Oh, I don't like either.
What?
Wine. Yeah, spirits for me. Spirits.
Oh. Night in or night out?
Now, night in.
Ninjas or pirates?
Ninjas.
Kim or Kanye?
Kanye.
Okay, that brings an end to Carl's terrible choices.
I would agree with 90% of them.
No, it's Scone and The Simpsons.
Yoni, you're too posh for me. You're too posh.
No, scone is posh.
Scone is posh.
Yeah. Scone's the talk of the common people.
Oh, really?
Thanks for watching my interview. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Untitled Artwork.
Spot on.
Yeah, that was good. The only thing I would say is it did have a little bit of like a terrorist hostage video at the end. Because you went like this.
Do a big smile at the end, Carl.
Alright. Thanks for watching my interview. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Untitled Artwork.